Andy Dalton should have been the starter. They shouldn't have put him in the mix right away. His confidence looks shot to me. And can they fix this thing that they got going on right now?
I mean, it's hard for me to have any degree of confidence in anything that the Carolina Panthers are
Oh,
doing.
God.
The owner ain't met a coach that he don't want to fire, and they have bungled the quarterback position to high heaven. I don't understand how there wasn't more commitment to the plan to develop Bryce, given everything that they gave the Chicago Bears in order to have the rights to draft him. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
The Panthers owe a second round pick to the Chicago Bears in 2025 for a quarterback that they benched 2 games into the season.
And talking about
How does that
trading. And talking
how
about
does that how
trading.
does that make any sense at all? See, when they made the decision to move up to take a quarterback, I said, okay, this seems like the right way to go. They got Frank Reich as their head coach. They
Mhm.
brought in Thomas Brown. They brought in Josh McCown. They brought in Jim Caldwell. They brought in all these bright offensive minds to surround Bryce Young with. I said, this is the right way to go. But then they decided we're going to play this guy early in his career and let him get the career knocked out of him. And then, for good measure, 2 games into his second season, we're going to bench him for Andy Dalton. Charles, there's no world in which continuing to bench Bryce Young in lieu of Andy Dalton makes any sense right now. You're 1-5 as a team. What's the downside to playing Bryce Young? If you've already benched him, you've already embarrassed him, you've already stripped him away of any confidence that he could have, what are you losing by playing him now? At least if you play him now, losing has a benefit. You can see if he can play his way out of it. You can see what you got and then make a decision at the end of the year. But trying to salvage 2024 when it's already a lost season makes no sense. It doesn't make sense to play a 38-year-old quarterback knowing that this guy ain't your future.
Well, especially if you did it on the front end, not the back end. That was my
Yeah,
whole
they
point.
should they
Yeah.
should they should have started a veteran last year instead of Bryce Young. Let Bryce sit and learn because I'm a big believer that sometimes a franchise has to acknowledge where they're at and be honest with themselves about being able to support a young quarterback. You can go back and forth about whether or not the Panthers should have drafted Bryce Young. That's a debate for another day. But the Panthers should have recognized the roster is not as such that they can support a young quarterback.
True.
And if that's the case, keep the kid on the bench.
Yeah.
Let Andy Dalton or whatever other veteran quarterback you chose to bring in last year take all of the slings and arrows because the team is bad around him, rather than everybody in the fan base blaming the kid for the dysfunction that's happening on the field. They
Baker
did it
Mayfield.
back. They did it bass backwards. That's the Carolina Panthers when it comes to the quarterback position. They did it bass backwards. They started Bryce's day one, and then
Yeah.
they benched him for Andy Dalton when it should have been the other way around.
All the way.